And another thing, an important quote which one of our club members shared with me is that a person with a right mental attitude, no one can stop him from success. But a person with a wrong attitude will not get success, or anything on the earth cannot help him. So that means we have to change our mental attitude. Once we change our attitude, all the world in front of us is changed. So whatever we see is just because what we are perceiving from our brain. And in case we change our mental attitude, every negative can become positive. So the fear of coming on the stage will automatically be converted into the enthusiasm of coming to the stage. So that should be the difference. This fear should be replaced by enthusiasm. And now to take the session forward, we have a very good theme today, happiness. And since this happiness is what every day we want, and it is the ultimate thing, so the Toastmaster of the day will guide us how to achieve this happiness, or we don't know what she has in her basket today for us. And the source of happiness for our Toastmaster of the day is talking to a person who is on the same page and who is not judgmental. So as we have in Toastmaster Club, our mission statement is to have a positive and supportive environment. We are never judgmental towards each other, and I hope the Toastmaster of the day and we all will enjoy this session a lot. So please welcome Toastmaster Ansul Priya, our Toastmaster of the day.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Turning Point Toastmasters Club's 139th meeting. There's a team out this evening, and theme for today is happiness. Can I see a big smile on everyone's faces before I start? Okay. Here we go. I want to be happy, and just happy. 5 years back, I told this to myself that I want to be happy. Can you tell me in one word what makes you happy? Okay. Yeah? Food. Okay.
Sports.
Okay. Now listen to this. At that time, the first thing which came into my mind was to become rich and famous. Because if you are rich, then you can buy almost anything under the sun. And if you are famous too, it means that many people like you and you get that necessary acceptance from the people to be happy. What else does one need? I was on cloud 9 to decode the formula of happiness. Then I thought that I should get started with it in full swing. Then to motivate myself, I searched for an ideal. Ask me who seemed to be the most happy person on earth at that time. So, he is one of the most acclaimed comedian, actor and impressionist. He is known for his flexible body movement and facial expressions. Can you guess who he is? No, he is Jim Carrey. But I was shocked when he said, I think everyone should become rich and famous and do everything, whatever they ever dreamt of, so that they can see that it's not the answer. It came as a thunderbolt. I thought if money and fame are not the answer, then then what it can be. The master of comedy further said that he was mostly unhappy in his life, and despite having lots of opportunities, money and fame, he attributed his humor to depression. Carrie's family was poor and his mother was often sick, which forced Carrie to resort to humor to uplift their spirits. I was shocked to hear this because I thought, how can he be my ideal, because he himself is not happy. And I didn't want to disguise happiness. I want to be happy in real. So I decided to leave him and I searched for the next ideal. The person who came into my mind was, I will tell you about him later. But first, let me explain the structure of a general Toastmasters meeting. In our regular meetings, we have 3 segments: better speaking, better thinking and better listening. In first segment, better speaking is prepared speech segment. Speakers can deliver their speech based on objectives given by pathway syllabus, and generally the time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Second segment is better thinking, and it is called table topic segment. Speakers will be given a topic on the spot and they have to speak about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. Third segment is evaluation, which is also called better listening segment, and evaluators will provide comments on areas to improve on. But today we are having a special meeting. We are having a speech marathon. So instead of table topics, we are going to listen 6 wonderful speeches. Aren't you excited?
Yes. Yes.
I am so very looking forward to these wonderful speeches. And now it's time to invite our G to the stage to introduce his team and to explain his role. When I asked G, who is Nimit, when I asked him what makes him happy, he said, happiness is not outside. It is always inside out. So please welcome the G of today's meeting, T.M. Nimit.
Alright, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good evening, guests and esteemed fellow Toastmasters. I am the general evaluator for the day. As a general evaluator, my purpose would be to evaluate and note what and all happened in the meeting, good and bad. I would be also evaluating certain role players for today's meeting and will be noting down points based on the performance, observation, enthusiasm, and how do they really fare out, right, in today's meetings. So to help me out, I have my team of speaker evaluators and the tag team, which is the auxiliary role players, right. I would be presenting my general evaluation report at the end of the meeting. However, right now I will introduce you to my tag team, which is the timer, our counter, and the grammarian for the day. First of all, the timer. Today's timer is Sonali, right? Sonali, although is coming from a commerce background, but is is serving really well into analytical projects for a US airline. That's quite interesting, right? Although she has a tendency to speak a lot of hours, but that's what the very role for her is in this Toastmasters. So please welcome Timer of the Day, Sonali.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator, for the introduction. I am the timer. A very good evening to everybody. As a timer, I should have been on time, but I wasn't, so apologies for that. As a timer, my responsibility is to track the speech timings as well as the time taken by the role players as well. To make this happen, I have 3 cards with me, green, yellow and red. As depicted, green, I would raise the green card when the speaker reaches qualifying time. I would raise the yellow card when the speaker reaches the target time, and I would raise the red card when the speaker reaches the deadline of the target time. So today we have 5 speeches, as we know that we have a speech contest. Usually the speeches are from 5 to 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes I will raise the green card, at 6 minutes I am going to raise the yellow card, and at the 7th minute I am going to raise the red card. The speakers will be provided grace period of 30 seconds plus minus, and we keep raising the cards till the speaker hits the allotted time. There are no table topic speeches for today, but usually the time taken is about 1 to 2 minutes. The evaluators are about 5 each for each speech. They have 2 to 3 minutes to present their evaluation report as well. Similarly, 2 minutes for green, 2.5 for yellow, and 3 minutes for the red. I will be presenting my report at the end of the session. Right.
Thank you, Sonali, for explaining her role for today. Right, and now I would like to call upon the R counter for the day. She is none other than Soumya. Soumya between us is performing any role whatsoever for the very first time. By profession, she is working as an internal auditor at a Fortune 500 company, right? And she is really looking forward to it, and even I am looking forward to it. So here's Soumya.
As an hour counter, I would be counting all your hours, short pauses, double crutches if that's a thing, and I'll be counting all of these, and I'll request somebody else to count my hours as well because I am making so many. This will be my first. This is my first evaluation or part of the task team, so I would also be getting the feedback for that, obviously. At the end of the meeting, I'll be presenting my report.
Thank you so much. Alright, next, moving on, I would like to bring on the grammarian for the day. She is Ranjan Preet. Toastmaster Ranjan Preet is working as an air traffic controller at the New Delhi airport, right? That's quite interesting to know, by the way. And and she's really a fun-loving person, as I have known her. And here's to you.
Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, today I have the role of a grammarian. So as a grammarian, my duty is to note down all the good usage and not so good usage of the English language, and also to note down the grammatical errors if any by these speakers. And obviously we don't have the table topics and as well as the role players. And today it's also my duty to introduce you the word of the day. Word of the day is alacrity. It is a noun which means great willingness or eagerness. So its usage can be like a student completed his assignment with alacrity. And its synonyms are keenness, swiftness, you can say enthusiasm. And today I request you all to acknowledge the usage of the word of the day with a thumbs up. And I will be submitting my report at the evaluation in the evaluation session, and I also request you all to use the word of the day as maximum as possible.
So that was my tag team, right? I really wish them the best for playing the role to the best of their ability today, right? And I would be presenting my own general evaluation report at the end of the meeting. So here's back to the team on.
I hope with you and your team we can look forward to some valuable suggestions to improve ourselves.
Explain the ballot. No, just explain it.
Now, so you got these states. So whoever comes to deliver a speech, you should give your feedback and give it to the person, give it to the speaker after the meeting. You will get 60 seconds to write your feedback.
Not only for speakers, for anyone.
Okay. For any speaker who comes here on stage, you can write down your feedback and give it to them. So the theme for today is happiness. And in the beginning, I told you that how I dumped Jim Carrey as an idol. So the next person who came into my mind was Abraham Lincoln. I thought that being the president of the most powerful country, he must have been the most happy person on earth of his time. But Lincoln was no stranger to unhappiness. He suffered two major breakdowns at the ages of 26 and 31. He was even quoted saying, "I am the most miserable man alive." Well, different strokes for different folks. I decided to label him too. Then I searched for the quotient of happiness in Bollywood celebrities. King Khan, Shah Rukh Khan suffered a bout of depression after his shoulder surgery in 2010. Dharmendra, the legendary actor, suffered from depression for 15 long years. Deepika Padukone is the last person one can ever imagine to suffer with unhappiness and depression, because name, fame, beauty, education, freedom, money, you name it, and she has it all. But the fact is that she did feel empty and directionless in spite of herself. So all the celebrities we have talked about, they don't seem to be happy all the time, despite having lots of money, fame, and all the comforts of life. Well, money may or may not bring happiness, but lack of money can certainly bring unhappiness and misery. There is this research which states that after one acquires the wealth or money to fulfill their daily needs, beyond that, money doesn't contribute towards happiness. And what does? So I will talk about it later, and I will also give you the formula of happiness, but after some time. Right now we are entering into our first segment, which is better speaking, and we are going to start our speech marathon. Okay, before I call upon the first speaker, I would like her evaluator to read out her objectives. Akansha. Akansha, please.
Good evening, everybody. I will be evaluating Priyanka's speech. She is giving her icebreaker speech, and the basic purpose of the speech is to introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of the speech. Timer, please note the timing will be 4 to 6 minutes, and looking forward to your speech.
So now I will request our first speaker, Priyanka Goyal, to come to the stage. And when I asked Priyanka what makes her happy, she said shopping and sleeping makes her happy because it's a stress buster for her. Please welcome Priyanka, who is going to deliver icebreaker speech. Priyanka Goyal, icebreaker speech, Priyanka Goyal.
Thank you. It is said that life without aim is like a body without soul. And competition adds spices to life to make it more exciting. A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and valuable guests. Many years ago, in the month of January, a girl child was born to a middle class family. She was born to a small city called Nabha, which is located to southwest of Punjab. She was welcomed by her parents, her elder brother and elder sister. Being youngest, she was the most pampered child in the family. She had so many nicknames that no one in the family bothered to find a permanent name for her. One morning, she was taken to school, and while filling the admission form, her mother decided to keep her name as Priyanka. Yes, that was the moment and that was the place where I got my name. Thankfully, no Panditji was involved in that case. Being girl, my only aim was to come first in the class. Till my 10th standard, I had no idea of what to do next, but the only aim was to defeat my competitors and to come first. I used to hate my competitors a lot. I was so competitive that the moment I came to know that my competitor has chosen arts line, immediately I opted for non-medical because I thought that I have chosen the best option and I am on top of her. I had no idea of what all engineering streams we have. When I went to counseling, I had only one thought in my mind that I will accept each and every seat, whatever I get. And luckily, I got admission in computer science in one of the reputed government college. There I spent wonderful 4 years of my life without worrying about future. Then in the final year, my batchmates started discussing about their future plans of higher study. They were discussing about job interviews and many were discussing about their dream companies to work in. But I was the one who was aware of only 2 companies, Birlasoft and Infosys. That's it. Then I thought that I'll sit in each and every interview till I get selected. And by God's grace, I got offer letter from Tech Mahindra Pune, and that is how my professional career started. After 2 years, my flatmates again started discussing about new technologies in the market, and they were thinking about job change. I also thought of job change because I wanted to come back to Chandigarh, which is my hometown, and I wanted to stay with my parents. I was very happy, but my parents were extremely happy, not because I got the offer letter from Infosys Chandigarh, but because they could now control me. They started looking for a match, and in 2011 I got married. Then after marriage, I went to Hyderabad. Till now it was the happiest time. But when I entered Hyderabad campus, I entered into highly competitive world. I had no idea of where I am. I was allocated to a project where the deadlines were so strict and my team members were having experience of around 5 to 6 years and they had high expectations from me. I had no idea what to do. I gave my best shots to deliver the project on time. It was not so easy. I had to spend sleepless nights to learn about the technology and to convert my learnings into project. Many married people can understand my situation because I was newlywed and I had to spend so much time in office and I could not even maintain the balance between my personal and professional life. Somehow I lost my confidence. I could not even talk to clients in English, and that is why I lost so many on-site opportunities. Then one day I thought, no Priyanka, this is not done. You have to do something. You have to decide your goals. You have to decide your destiny. You cannot go aimless. Then I again spent sleepless nights to practice for a job so that I can work at a better place, so that I can work in a better technology. Then luckily I got offer letter from Fidelity, which is my current organization in Gurgaon. But as I earlier said, that I always wanted to be on top of my competitors, but something was again missing. Then one fine day, my husband dared to tell the truth. He said, Priyanka, I know you are very much happy working in your current project, but why don't you join Toastmasters to work on your public speaking skills? Why don't you join Toastmasters to work on your communication skills? It will definitely excel your confidence. And just give it a try. So last month I joined Toastmasters. I started with table topics and I could really feel a change in myself. So that was my journey from a small city to Toastmasters, and I hope my story will inspire you to keep at least one good aim in your life. Thank you.
Icebreaker. Now I would like to invite our second speaker, Abhishek, but before that, I would like his evaluator, Priyanka, to read out his objectives.
Abhishek. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't have the evaluation. Abhishek, good evening. Skip us. Sorry, I'm after the word. Could we call the next speaker? Okay, so then.
So instead of Abhishek, I would like Anshuman to come to the stage, and before that, I would like his evaluator, Lakshya, to read out his objectives.
So Toastmaster Anshuman will be delivering the level 2 project 2 speech on understanding your communication style. The purpose of this the project is for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary communication style. The purpose of this particular speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others. I wish him best of luck. Looking forward to your speech. Thank you.
So now I would like to invite Anshuman to the stage. And when I asked Anshuman what makes him happy, he said playing sports makes him happy because it involves fitness and fun. Please welcome the second speaker, Anshuman. Anshuman, communication style, Anshuman. All the best.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. The title of my last speech was Thunder. By the end of the speech, even I couldn't comprehend why I had titled it as Thunder. It was on leadership style. So this time the title is as blatant and as simple as it can be. And why so? Because the topic is communication. What do we understand by communication? Anyone in the audience? Interaction.
What message you want to deliver, that message should be delivered to the person, to the end person. Like if I want to deliver X message, then the only X message should deliver, not X minus 1 or not X plus 1.
Definitely. Whatever the message is sent should be received well by the recipient. Rupinder, I think you have a formal definition.
Same answer. He plagiarized my answer.
Anyone else has a different answer than what Nasir? Okay, alright. So, to simply put, there's a recipient and there's a sender. So, the sender sends the message, the recipient receives the message, and if the process completes well, it's a process of communication completed. It's as simple as that. So, there are two popular forms of sending the message and there are two popular forms of receiving the message amongst human beings. So, how do we send the message? Either we speak or either we write. How do we receive the message? Either we read or we listen. This might sound like pretty basic stuff, but one of the most popular management gurus, Peter Drucker, some of you might have heard of the name, he said that all of us individually have a preferred style of sending the message and a preferred style of receiving the message. For example, I like to share the message more by speaking and I like to receive the message more by listening. So if I have to communicate, for example, in my workplace, I'd rather want to have a meeting with someone where I can share the message by speaking, and I love to listen to that person speaking because I like to know that person's body language, emotions, and similarly I love to listen to TED Talks more than read a book to gain information. So you might want to ponder upon if that stands true for you. That is there a style of speaking? Is there a style of sending the message for you? And is there a style of receiving the message for you? I think that's one takeaway from the discussion today. Another is, when I went through the pathways this time, there are 4 broad ways of communication enlisted in the base camp activity. I'll be sharing that with you. But then let's make it a bit interesting because theory can get a bit boring at times. What I'll do is I'll share with you the 4 communication styles. What you have to do is at the end I'll enact all the 4 communication styles individually and you have to guess what the communication style is. Whoever is able to guess it the right way gets a Indian culture series chocolate for yourself. So let's do that. Alright. The first communication style is supportive. So supportive communication style is like easygoing, affectionate, caring, very like supportive as the word states itself. But at times that person with a supportive communication style can get a bit indecisive, might be perceived as indecisive. That's the first one, supportive. Second one is analytical.
As the word states itself, the person who has an analytical form of communication. As you can guess, is very data oriented, very precise, very logical in certain ways, but can look as perfectionist. May look at very data driven and perfectionist. And while I'm sharing the communication style, you might be wanting to think what is your predominant communication style. The third one is initiating. The person who has an initiating communication style is very sociable, very enthusiastic, very fun-loving. But at times, that person might look more talkative than being a better listener. And the last one we have is a direct communication style. A person with a direct communication style is very result-oriented, very competitive, wants to get things done, but might look impatient at times when he or she gets bored. So these are the 4 communication styles. Are we ready for the quiz now? All of us ready? Alright, I'll shuffle this and then go for the first one. Alright. Okay, this person engages another person. Hey Anshuman, let's go for 2 drinks of beer tonight. Let's make it fun. Let's go out nearby to 30-second milestone. And 2 beers will just make it light and will drown us of all the worry. Will take away all the worry that we have from work today. What kind of communication style? Raising hands. Alright, who was the first one? This can then be random. Alright, okay. I heard from here first. So
Initiating.
yes, initiating. A round of applause for Jitendra, please. Alright, perfect. Next one is, alright. I'm going to beat this person in my next exam. I'm going to study every day. Make sure that this person has been coming first every time. This person comes second this time. What kind of communication style? Evaluated lecture. Perfect. Round of applause. I'm not sure my acting skills right now, but I'll give another shot. Okay. Anshuman, great work this weekend. I really care that you work hard over the weekend and deliver the results that you do. Rupen, total. Perfect. Okay. Biased. Alright. Okay, last one. Okay, last one. Okay, I do not see this operation heading anywhere. The graph seems to be going all down. Perfect. Because, alright. Thank you all. I think we understood what different styles of communication are. 2 major key takeaways. I hope this was productive for you. Thank you.
Please write your feedback for Anshuman. Now I would like to invite our third speaker, Abhishek, but before that, I would like Priyanka, her evaluator, to read out his evaluation. evaluator to read out his objectives.
Sorry guys for the confusion. There are plenty of Priyanka in the room now. Okay, so the objective of Abhishek's speech is to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback and apply the feedback on the second speech. So Abhishek, all the best for your speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Abhishek to the lecture. And when I asked Abhishek what makes him happy, he said reading stories and history makes him happy. Please welcome our third speaker, Abhishek, to the stage. Abhishek, euthanasia, Abhishek, all the best.
Thank you. As I said, today's theme is happiness, so it's quite opposite, I guess. Last Friday was a great day. My manager called me and he told me I got the promotion. I was like, my heart was finally paid off. And two of my friends got the same confirmation. So we thought, let's go out, have a really nice dinner at a restaurant, and let's talk about the increments. We're gonna get more money this time. I was like, this is the best time of my life, and you're all happy. I was in the state of euphoria. I reached my flat, and suddenly I was just about to open the door. Suddenly my phone rang. It was my mother's call. And I was like, this is the perfect moment when I can tell her that I got the promotion. It's a great moment and I am feeling really happy today. Because most of the time I don't talk to my mother in that way. I just picked up the phone and after listening to her, a chill ran down my spine. My grandfather was no more. I sat on the stairs. Finally, I collected my thoughts and left for the home. It was a 12-hour journey, so a movie was playing in front of me. My grandfather was suffering from hemiparesis. It's a paresis in which one side of body is weakened. He was in this state from last 5 years, and whenever he wanted to go washroom, someone has to be there. I had taken him myself so many times. One thing I realized on that day that a person can tackle physical pain with the help of painkillers, but the mental pain is really hard to tackle. He was a really tall man. Let me tell you how tall he was. At the age of 10, his parents died. He was left with two younger brothers with ankle bends, and it was before the independence. He has to be very strong and mature from very young age. So as a result, he became a really successful person in his life, giving the best education to his children and providing financial security to his family. But in this phase of life, after done so much, he was going through a vicious cycle of embarrassment every day, shame every day. I have seen him praying and asking for freedom from the shackle of embarrassment and agony. And with this state of helplessness, I was really tormented. But I have to appreciate my family that had supported him every possible way. So last couple of days, I was thinking about this topic, euthanasia, which is derived from euthanatos, which is a Greek word for good death. In short, it is a killing of a human life in a merciless way with the intention of avoid unbearable pain. So it's a controversial topic, right? In different parts of the world, it hasn't got that acceptability both in legal and constitutional matters. Back in 400 BC, the father of medicine, Hippocrates, created a oath, and which is still taken today by fresh medical graduates, which is, I will give no deadly medicine to anyone if asked, nor suggest such counsel. So there are different kinds of euthanasia. First one is active euthanasia, in which a physician is directly involved in the death For example, by giving overdose or maybe injection. Second one is passive euthanasia, in which there is indirect involvement of physician, like switching off the life supporting ventilators. And there are few more. On March 2018, Supreme Court passed a landsliding ruling and allowing passive euthanasia in India and allowing a person to die with dignity under strict regulations. A woman has to give a living will, which is nothing but a living document in which her can state the instructions for his medical treatment when he is diagnosed with a terminal illness or in a state of unable to make informed decisions. So as I said, it's a controversial topic, right? So one of the biggest argument against the euthanasia is, what if there is a medical science, it's advancing every day. So what if a cured person can be cured in future? So we are as a society denying the right of future recovery, right? In my opinion, the biggest threat to a person is depression. It's not the restricted life cycle, dependence on machine. It's the thought of being a burden on his family. So after 12 days of his death, we were all sitting together and we were discussing, and there were relatives, right? So many people gathered at a place. We were discussing his life, what he had done. I realized one thing then, that even he had gone through such excruciating pain, but he has shown that alacrity towards life, even in this phase of life. So we have given him final farewell. We decorated his bed and prayed him to give for a journey in his next life. His life had really impacted me, and I decided one thing on that day. From his stories, childhood stories of bravery and hard work, and watching him tackling the unbearable pain in this old age, I thought, I will never surrender to any problem in my life, and I will fight till the last breath of me. Thank you.
Please write your feedback for Abhishek, who has given speech on such a sensitive topic. Now I would like to invite our fourth speaker, Pawan, to the stage. But before that, I would like his evaluator, Rupinder, to read out his objectives.
Mentoring forms the core of Toastmasters. We don't have teachers as such, we have mentors. And today, Pawan is going to attempt the project Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspect of a previous experience as a prodigy. On a personal note, it makes me proud that Pawan is a mentee to my mentee, who happens to be sitting right here. All the best to you, Pawan, and back to you.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Pawan to the stage, and when I asked him what makes him happy, he said, giving back to the society society makes him happy. He feels fortunate enough where he is today, and he doesn't regret his past because whatever has happened for a reason. Now please welcome Pawan to the stage. Pawan, when teacher became the disciple, Pawan, all the best.
A very good evening to fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. There is a very beautiful saying, like behind every successful man, there is a woman. How many of you in this room agree to this? Yes, indeed, that was expected. And few creative people have really taken this statement to the next level. Like behind very successful man, there is
A mental.
lots of women. So guys, don't take it seriously. That was just for fun. Let me now introduce my version of this statement. As for me, behind every successful man, there is a mentor also. But most of the time, that person is not recognized. But today, as a part of my speech, I really want to acknowledge that there have been many mentors in my life, and every single person has played a very important role in my life. Year 2005, when I joined Wipro as a voice engineer in the contact center domain. In my team, we had the technical expert Amrish Sharma, who was the senior most guy in our whole group. After spending a couple of weeks time together, we became great friends. And after a few days, my manager requested Amrish to become my buddy or my mentor. And we started knowledge transfer and coaching sessions. Everything was going fine until one day when Amrish requested me for a favor. He approached me and said, Pawan, can you write an email to me and to my manager mentioning that everything from the knowledge transfer standpoint is going fine and you are comfortable managing the entire application on your own. I was not confident enough and little bit reluctant writing this email, but since I was considering Amrish as my friend, I had to write that email. After 2 days, when I reached office, Amrish was missing. I checked with other folks, I could not find Amrish. Then I checked with my manager, and upon checking with my manager, he mentioned that Amrish is out of India. He's in US for 20 days training program. I was a little surprised because I was considering Amrish as a good friend, and if he had any plan to go out of India, he could have told me. Anyways, life goes on. Next day, when I reached office, my immediate manager, he reached out to me and said, Pawan, there is an important assignment on which you need to work upon. I looked at the requirement and that was super complex. I straight away said to my manager that no, I'm not going to work on it because that is not cup of my
cup of tea.
That's not my cup of tea. I'm not expert in this area. He showed me that email that few days back he wrote a mail to me that you are comfortable and you can manage this application on your own. Now you have to do it. I had no other option but to give it my best shot. He was out of India for 20 days, but 20 days time felt like a long year. To complete that assignment, I had to go through different manuals, I had to go through different old code bases, but luckily, within 20 days, or maybe before that, I could deliver the project on time. And that was a moment that put me in the limelight. I was awarded as one of the Shining Stars. I was awarded with the Shining Star Award. Everything was going fine and suddenly, Amrish appeared in the office. He came to me and appreciated my effort, especially the thing that I controlled in his absence. But since I was not happy with him, I didn't treat him well. He took me for the coffee and he explained me that Pawan, it was all my plan. I wanted to put you on spot and give you the right opportunity, because not many people get this kind of opportunity, and I had a backup plan also. I looked at him for a while and then said, "Oh really? Was that your plan? Or you are making up a story now?" After some conversation, I realized that yes, he was right in his way. As a mentor, he could identify the potential in me, and he pushed me to a next level, took me out of the comfort zone. Today, I also play a role of mentor in my personal and professional life, and I feel happy to share whatever I have learned from my mentors, and it gives me immense satisfaction when I see other people growing. As a mentor, it is a great responsibility to guide and coach your mentee, and it's a two-way thing, because as a mentor, you also get to learn from your mentees as you go along. In our life, few gets mentored by default, like our parents. Few get mentors by force, like our teacher. Few get mentors by their choice, like our friends. But there is one specific thing which is common in terms of having a very successful mentor-mentee relationship, which is trust and honesty. Here in Toastmasters, I have seen that all the mentors have changed people's life, which clearly shows that they are committed to their job, they are committed to their role and giving their best to their mentees. Today's mentee will be future mentors and will continue this culture. So all the very best to all the mentors and mentees.
And again, I have 60 seconds on the clock. Please, everyone, write feedback for Pawan. Now I would like to invite our fifth speaker, Divakar, to the stage. But before that, I would like his evaluator, Vishakha, to read out his objectives.
Hello everyone. Divakar is attempting the project connecting with storytelling. Purpose of the project is to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. Time, please note, time is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best.
Thank you. Now I would like Divakar to come to the stage, and when I asked him what makes him happy, he said, a good night's sleep makes him happy. Because if your sleep is sound, then you are happy internally. Now please give him a big hand. Divakar, last cat right, Divakar. All the best.
"20 years ago, I drove a cab for living. One night, I arrived in the middle of night for a pickup at a place which was dark, except for a single light which was lit on the ground floor window. Under those circumstances, many drivers would honk once or twice, would wait for a minute and then drive away. but I have seen many impoverished people who rely on the taxis as their only means of transport. Unless there was danger, I always knock the door. Because someone might need my help, I reassured myself. I went to the door, knocked the gate. Wait for a minute. An elderly voice came from there. As I stood around the gate, I could hear something was dragged across the floor. And after a long pause, I saw the gate open, and there stood a small lady, 80 years of age. She was wearing a white dress and a hat. And beside her, there was a small suitcase. She asked me to pull the suitcase and put it in the car. I took the suitcase and put it in the car and returned back to assist her. She took me by the arm and we reached to the car slowly. She thanked me profusely while we were coming to the car. And I said, "It's nothing. It's the same way I would have taken my mother." We sat in the car. She gave me an address where we wanted to go. She told me, "Let's go downtown." I said, it's not the straight way, it's longer. She said, "Oh, all right, I don't have any. Anyways, I have to leave for a whole home." So there we sat in the car. I looked from the mirror, her eyes were glistening. She said, "I don't have anybody left in my family, and doctor says I could not live anymore. I have so few days left." I quietly reached out the meter and shut the meter off. And I asked her, "Where would you like to go, ma'am?" We drove for 2 hours in the city. She took me to the building where she was an elevator operator. She took me to the neighborhood where, with her new husband, they took the apartment. And she pulled me over to a furniture store that was once a dance building where she danced herself. And sometimes she pulled me to the building, to the corner where we sat doing nothing, staring the darkness and just doing nothing. As the sun came through the horizon, she quickly said, "I am tired now. Let's get away." I quietly drove her to the address she given in the chip. We were sitting there and I took her to the old home where 2 elderly people came. They were shown alacrity and they were solidness in their movement, watching her every movement. I think they were expecting her because maybe she has called before boarding the cab. I took out the luggage from the cab. When I gave it back to them, she was already seated on a wheelchair. She asked me, "How much do I owe you?" I said, "Nothing." She asked me, "You have to make a living." I could do that from other fellow passengers. And I gently bent down and hugged her. She told me she had a very good time, she had a very great moment at the time, and she was very thankful. I squeezed her arm and gently moved away in the dim morning light. I did not take any more passengers that night. I drove aimlessly, lost in my thought, and the next day I could hardly speak. I was thinking, what if some arrogant driver arrived at home, and what if some impatient driver could arrive at home and could not complete her trip? And what if I would have gone to her house all once and just driven away? But to my comfort, I did not do that. I chose to help her in any way I wanted. And anyways, I was not doing any important work than that. And we always think that life is happening in the large moments, but it doesn't happen in large moments. It happens in the small moments which are wrapped beautifully in the large moments. So we must live to the small moments, and that's it. Thank you.
And when I have 60 seconds on the clock, please write your feedback for Diwakar. Now I would like to invite our sixth speaker, Priyanka. But before that, I would like her evaluator, Nasir, to read out her objectives.
Good evening all. So today Priyanka is delivering a level 2 project speech. And the purpose of this project is to skill or practice needed to connect with audience on an unfamiliar topic. So the speaker select any unfamiliar or any new topic which is not known to the audience or to the club. So all the very best, Priyanka, for your speech.
Thank you, Nasir. I'm filled with alacrity to invite Priyanka to the stage, and when I asked her what makes her happy, she said that talking to friends makes her happy because it gives feeling of belongingness. Please welcome Priyanka to the stage. Priyanka, tea is not just a drink. Tea is not just a drink, Priyanka.
It was 9 o'clock in the morning. I was at my grandma's house. We were on a vacation. My grandma was in the kitchen. She was pouring tea from the pan in glasses. And I was standing there, a 10-year-old girl, wondering what she's doing. Every day morning she does this. I asked her, what are you doing exactly? She told, बेटा चाय है मम्मी के ले जा तुम्हारी माँ को बहुत पसंद है ये किस टी your mother loves it. I did that. I took the tea and gave to my mother. And I saw, after having the tea, I saw a peaceful smile on her face. As if she got Amrit. I think about Amrit in English.
Nectar.
Yes. Yeah. So I was amazed looking at her. I remember every day, like a little girl asking for a balloon, she used to ask my grandmother to make tea. What is there exactly in this tea? was no more. I felt very sad looking at my mother, and everybody was really at a sad place, a sad moment. And after that incident, I never saw that peaceful smile on my mother's face again. So, with alacrity, I promised myself I couldn't bring my grandmother back, but I could bring that peaceful smile on her face again. So I decided I should learn the recipe of my grandma's tea anyhow. I did Google, I searched online everywhere. I asked everybody, every possible relatives who knew my grandmother. How did she prepare? What exactly she added? Everybody gave their own versions of tea. I prepared them all, but nothing worked. My mother was the same the way she was. Even I tried my innovative experiments. Different spices I added, cardamom, this and that, everything. Even some person also suggested me to add salt. I added it and I puked. I tried all possible ways. I couldn't bring that smile on my mother's face again. I started losing all the hopes. One evening, my friends called me for tea. We were chatting, we were having really good time. And that day, I really loved the tea. I thought this would be the tea which my grandma must have prepared. This is the secret recipe of my grandma. I rushed to the vendor and asked, what did you add in the tea? He told, madam, tea leaves, milk and water. What the hell? I tried this since long back. Okay, fine. I thought he must be hiding the recipe. So I thought for a plan. I should become his loyal customer so that he revealed the secret. I used to drag my friends every day and call them for tea. Every day the same vendor, same place, same stop. And after 2 days, I went to the vendor again. Bhaiya, tell me the recipe. Tell me this. I'm a loyal customer. I come every day. You can tell me. I won't tell to any other vendor. Don't worry. He told again, madam, I do the same thing every day. I only add milk, tea leaves and water. I was so pissed off. This fellow don't want to tell me the recipe. Okay. From that day, we stopped going there. Whenever my friends used to call me, I never went. I realized that I started missing something. I started missing my friends because we weren't going there. I started missing the belongingness which I used to feel while sitting for tea for that half an hour. I started realizing that whenever I'm happy, I'm having tea. When I'm sad, I'm having tea. Whenever I'm anxious, I'm having tea. What exactly is there? After so much of introspection, I realized, okay, there's something else. A month back, my mother came to Gurgaon. I prepared tea and snacks and all the possible things and I gave to her. She drank the tea and she told, from this tea all my tiredness went away. And I also marked another thing. I marked that peaceful smile on her face. I was surprised. What is going on? I tried everything. And I just made simple tea that day. What exactly happened to her? Why she's smiling today? Not the 100 times which I prepared. She told me, when I asked, that Priyanka, tea, the secret recipe for the grandmother was the love she used to add while preparing the tea. It's just not a drink, just not an ingredient, it's not about that, it's about the love. And that love I felt when you prepared tea today for me. time. I could still not cherish the moments I spent with my friends. It is just an excuse. It's just a medium to share love. Tea is just not a drink. It's a medium or it's a magic to join us together. For tea.
I'm gonna have 60 seconds on the clock so that everyone can write their feedback for Priyanka.
Also ask everyone to vote for the guest speaker. We don't have the link today, so they have to write it on a piece of paper and collect the ballots.
Okay, please also after you finish feedback for Priyanka, please vote for the best speaker. And
If you are missing ballots, you can ask around because I give some of the extra ballots. Just in case you don't have, I'll pass them around. Anyone who needs a ballot to vote. So I gave some to. Anyone who needs a ballot to vote? If you voted, you can give them to me. Just write one of the names who you think is the best speaker.
so there are 6 nominees for the best speaker: Priyanka Goyal, second speaker Anshuman, third speaker Abhishek, fourth speaker Pawan, fifth speaker Divakar, and sixth speaker Priyanka.
Anyone who's get to give me a ballot? Anyone who's yet to give me a ballot? Anyone who's willing to give me a ballot? So, for Priyanka Goyal, just write Priyanka G, and for the other Priyanka, write Priyanka M. M as in Mishra. And if there is no initial, I'll assume it to be Priyanka M because that's the name that was written. Sorry, Priyanka, the other one. Sorry, Vineet also, basically.
So with this, we are finished with our first segment, which was better speaking. Now, before we start our second segment, which is second and last segment, which is better listening, I would like to tell you something more about our theme, which is happiness. And I will also share the formula for happiness. Are you excited to know the formula? Yes. Doesn't matter. When I will share, you will come to know that what is real happiness. So let's look at our celebrities who we have talked about. How have they found their happiness? Jim Carrey focused on compassion and beauty of life. Abraham realized that folks are as happy as they make their minds to be. Shahrukh, Dharmendra and Deepika found their own concoction of happiness. But what Steve Jobs said when he was on his deathbed will melt your heart. He said, "The wealth I have won in my life, I cannot bring it with me. What I can bring is only the memories precipitated by love. That's the only riches which will follow you, accompany you, giving you strength and light to go on." Treasure love for your family, love for your spouse, love for your friends. Treat yourself well and cherish others. Hey, this was the formula which says that happiness is not a goal. It's a byproduct of a life well lived. Now I would like to learn best of the best formula phase if you don't know how to apply it. So I would like all of us to learn from a girl who is always happy. She is happy because every day she tries to, and she actually does a little more than she think she can. So did you get it? That happiness is our own responsibility and prerogative. Happiness is our natural state, and it comes from living in the moment. Now come on guys, let's take an oath today. Stand up everyone. And keep your hands like this, and you will repeat after me. From now on, I will always be happy.
I will always be happy.
I will not allow anyone or anything
I will not allow anyone or anything
to take away my happiness.
to take away my happiness.
Today is another day
Today is another day
to create my own happiness.
to create my own happiness.
So now, now happy guys? Okay, so what do we do when we are happy?
Clap our hands.
Yes. If you are happy and you know it and you really want to show it, if you are happy and you know it and you really want to show it, stamp your feet. If you are happy and you know it and you really want to show it, smile, laugh and cheer. Let's cheer for our own happiness. Happy! Hooray! Happy! Hooray! Happy! Hooray! Okay, now we are entering into our second and last segment, which is better listening, and it is also called evaluation. Now I would like our G to come to the stage and take over the session from here.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So I'm back. Now this is a very important section of the meeting. In fact, the most important, where we would be evaluating all the role players and the prepared speakers for today, right? And I'm sure the speakers for today are really looking forward to it. I encourage all the evaluators to provide a positive comments and also suggest the areas of improvement, if any. So I would like to call upon the first evaluator for today, Toastmaster Akansha.
Good evening, everybody. Firstly, congratulations, Priyanka, on delivering an awesome icebreaker. You very well started the speech and you very well structured it. Starting from your life, being born, to school, college, work life, marriage, and other things. And amongst that, while introducing yourself, you added humor to it. Like we all had a laugh when you said that your parents forgot to name you, give you a permanent name until they had to admit you into a college, school, sorry. And after knowing that this icebreaker, you like to improve upon and you have very high competitive spirit, I would like to suggest you a few areas of improvement. First thing I noticed that the title was missing. It could have been titled like maybe my story or anything that could have added more value to it. And the second thing is a message. Like I found that the starting of the speech started with a quote. Like life without competition is like body without soul, and competition adds more spice to life. And then you related it to competition among school, getting good grades. So I find that this could have it could have been like at the end, competitions are a way to improve, and one must always accept them because they give you a better, make you become a better version of yourself. So this would have really been more impactful. And there's one more thing that I would like to suggest, because I find that you can accept this challenge. One thing is that I found that your eye contact was this side and your body was this side. Like it was mostly this way. So either like take a step this side and deliver, and another time this side and then delivering it part of your stories. Above all, I would say that you have a very strong and powerful voice, and you delivered it with great amount of confidence, especially your icebreaker speech. And I look forward to other speeches.
Thank you, Kamsha. So, now moving on very quickly to the second evaluator for today, Toastmaster Akshay.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So, Toastmaster Anshuman, you delivered a great speech. As an evaluator, it's always great to have chocolate, and even better that to know that you're actually incorporating the feedback of the previous speech by changing the aptful title this time. So kudos for that. I believe your audience connect was amazing. I think we all felt that the amount of engagement with the audience and the audience awareness was amazing. I believe that gives any speech or any kind of communication a grade up, because you know your audience, you are connecting with them. I believe your message was aptly sent, right from the sending to the receiving. So if I say you delivered your message by speaking and we all listened and communication received. So kudos for that again. A few recommendations despite the chocolate. Your project was supposed to be about communication. It was not supposed to be a report on the 4 communication styles. I would have loved if you talked more about a particular communication style, how it impacted you, or maybe so much more. You could have maybe picked one of them rather than explaining all 4 of them and taking us through a quiz. You might have quizzed us on only a single one. It would have impacted us a little more. It could have been your or someone you have encountered with. That would have helped us to connect a little more on that. Another thing I noticed was your stage movement was a little less, I'll say, and you were primarily focusing on one side of the audience rather than the both sides. I believe it's always difficult to change the stage movement and other things, but you can take it up as a challenge. Overall, you had a great speech. The vocal variety and the speech was given with a clear clarity. You were very, very, very comfortable while delivering your speech. That's all in my report. Looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshay. So the next evaluator for today, who evaluated Abhishek's speech, is Toastmaster Priyanka.
Hello Abhishek, congratulations for your completion of the speech. Abhishek introduced us 2 stories. First, his grandfather's journey, and he also touched a very serious topic regarding euthanasia. He
grandfather struggled in his life, how he got inspired from his grandfather. He also talked about how euthanasia is really required when a person is really suffering. What I could see in future, what I want to see in your future speeches, Abhishek, that when you introduce two stories, you try to connect them, but I found the missing link in them. So, if I explain you in a better way, you started your story with title as euthanasia, but you ended it how you got inspired from your grandfather. Coming back to the first thing, you got promoted and you got a call from your mother about his death. You got sad. Everything was going fine. But when it came to your grandfather, you could have talked more about why he needed euthanasia. What was he suffering about? That could have explained us why euthanasia came into picture in your speech. Then you could have explained what exactly euthanasia is, how in India it is being introduced. All those things could have given you more cause to the evidence. In that way, your speech could have got more weight. Further, you could have concluded, combining both the stories, that a person who had really good journey, who's really good, already he has seen so much of struggle, why he need to struggle at his deathbed too? You could have completed like that. So that is one of the suggestions which I have. So one of the challenges I want to see that you could work on your transitions. Don't take serious topics. If you are struggling, take small simple topic. Like for the tea today, simple but nice. I hope so. That is my editor tell me. Yeah. So we should start with a simple topic. Work on our transitions, because transition makes us speech really good. So if I summarize, you have really good content, really great story. You need to work on your structures, transitions, and the main thing is the purpose of your speech. The purpose should flow from starting of the speech to the end. So over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. So the next evaluator is DTM Rupinder, who had evaluated Kavan's speech.
I often say that the world needs storytellers, and today we had one such storytelling experience today. Thank you, Pawan, for sharing your story with us, which created some really relatable experiences. Everyone who's been fortunate enough to have a good mentor at their workplace could relate to that, where your mentor puts you in a very difficult situation and you feel that you're out there floundering like being thrown into the deep end of a swimming pool. And I've been there, I know what a deep end of a swimming pool looks like, life or death situation. And Pawan brought it out so eloquently and with such alacrity. I loved the vocal connect that he established and also the audience connect. For example, when he was telling the story, you could literally hear a pin drop in the room, in between the pauses. No one spoke a word, everybody was listening to him with rapt attention. Now, how can Pawan improve? Here are a few suggestions. First of all, the ending I felt was a little bit abrupt. You had transitioned into telling stories about Toastmasters. I would have wanted more content there. Or maybe don't have anything about Toastmasters because the story about Ambrish was complete in itself. The second, and this seems like a plot hole, I don't know why I could not establish the connect between that email that you sent to Ambrish and Ambrish not being in office next day. How did your email contribute to Ambrish having to leave for US? So that connect was missing. I felt that it was quite an abrupt transition. Having said that, one more suggestion, I apologize. Do not walk into laughter. So while the audience was laughing, you were trying to kind of cut down their laugh. Let them have their fill and then continue with the story. Coming back to what I liked, you took an out of Toastmasters example. Normally we tend to take examples from within Toastmasters itself. But to me, the best part of the speech is that today's mentees are tomorrow's mentors. And it's a very deep impact statement. The average lifespan of a Toastmaster is about 18 months. But it is statements like these that can make a difference. So if you are a mentee today, the best thing that you can do to the Toastmasters community is to become a mentor tomorrow. So Pawan, keep up the good work, keep telling stories, keep creating relatable experiences, keep engaging the audience. Do not walk into laughter, work on your ending a little bit. Also, thank you for reinforcing that today's mentees are tomorrow's mentors.
Next we have Toastmaster Vishaka evaluating Divakar's speech.
So the purpose of the Divakar speech was to connect with storytelling, and he did complete justice to the objectives. From the very start, he engaged everyone in this room with his very personal story. He shared an aspect of his life which was unknown to us, and he very beautifully narrated his story. While sitting there, I was living his story one moment at a time, and he used his body gestures at his best to make sure that we can visualize the scene that he wants to describe. For example, while narrating the incident when he went to pick up the old lady, he used the gestures like knocking the door, holding my hand, which helped us visualize the scene that was being described. Also, he maintained a slow and steady pace of the voice, which allowed all of us to live all his experiences, one experience at a time. And we could feel what exactly he was feeling. The speech was beautifully crafted with smooth flow. I could not see any abrupt transitions there. In this overall beautifully crafted speech, there are few areas that you can work on. One was stage movement. What I could see was you were continuously moving on the stage throughout. I didn't get it, like it was a very emotional message that you were trying to deliver, but too much of stage movement can be distracting. So what you can do is, when you are preparing for your speech, you can mark the points where you need to maintain your stage movement. For example, when you are trying to enact a conversation, then you can use the stage movement. When you are trying to define different stages of your different phases of somebody's life or different phases in any of the situation, then you can use the stage movement. Or when you want to convey your message strongly, you can move forward. So you can define areas in your speech while preparing where you need to do the stage movement. Just move then, otherwise do not move, because too much of stage movement can be distracting to the audience. Other thing that you can use is pauses. The pace of the speech was fine, but I could feel that there were some places where you can use pauses to create a special effect and to strongly deliver your message. For example, when you were talking about your thoughts that were in your mind, the very next day of that car ride, you were thinking in yourself, but you quickly moved to the next thing. And as an audience, I wanted to stop there and think, but you just moved to the next topic. So you could use pauses to create an extra effect. All in all, a great speech, great storyline, awesome title, which truly related to the speech throughout, and with a beautiful message that life isn't small. Thank you so much, Siddhartha.
And last but not the least, the last evaluator for today, Toastmaster Nasir, evaluating Priyanka's speech.
Priyanka, you started that your grandma used to pound the tea. It was awesome starting. And from the very starting, you created the suspense. Means what was the happiness which your mother used to get when you used to give the tea which your grandma used to prepare. It was awesome. I really was connected throughout the speech. And in the last, you revealed that was the love which your grandma used to add to that tea. And so your starting and ending was awesome, and the transition during the speech was awesome. Content was awesome, and as per the objective of the speech, your speech objective was that the audience should be connected and with the unknown topic, but you really did justice to that. All the audience were really connected because you created that much of suspense. I was looking what was that thing which was giving happiness, and you did proper eye contact throughout the speech. Your vocal variety was awesome, and stage movement was good, but I felt that you used half of the stage. You used very good, but you used only this much of the stage. You could have used this stage as well because you are a very good speaker. And the second recommendation is, this is not a recommendation, this is actually a challenge for you, because I personally see you as a very good speaker, so you could choose some means more complex or stringent topics as well, and can transition in the same way as you delivered today. So overall, it was awesome speech, starting and ending, and the transition with proper eye contact and vocal variety, and you can work on a little bit on your proper stage movement, and all the very best to you for your future speeches. Over to you, General.
Thank you, Nasir, and in fact, thank you to all the speech evaluators for today. I hope that all the prepared speakers for today would feel encouraged, right, and with the feeling of alacrity. So before moving forward, let us vote for the best evaluator as well, like we did for the best speaker. So I'm sure you all must have the checks with you. In case you don't have, please contact me or the staff for today, right? And please write the best evaluator for today, and please pass on that to me, or even Pawan is collecting it, right? So timer, please note timer for 60 seconds for this activity. So first of all, we had Toastmaster Akasha, evaluator 1, evaluator 2, Toastmaster Lakshya. You can please raise your hands, right, as I call your names. Toastmaster Akasha, evaluator 1, Toastmaster Lakshya, evaluator 2, Toastmaster Priyanka, evaluator 3, Toastmaster Rupinder, evaluator 4, Toastmaster Vishakha, evaluator 5, and last, Toastmaster Nasir as evaluator 6. Everyone knows it. Is everyone done here?
You can continue.
Right. So I'm hoping that all the prepared speakers for today would be feeling encouraged, right? And about the positive aspects, what went well in their speech, and the suggestions what the evaluators gave them to implement them in their next speech. After the speech evaluations, let us now have the tag team on the stage. Who would be presenting their report one by one. First of all, I would like to call upon the stage the timer for today, Sonali.
Thank you all for the speeches again. I think sitting here and listening to you was very, very entertaining for me as well. I'll just start with the speeches and tell the amount of time that each speaker has taken. Starting with Priyanka Goyal, 6 minutes 20 seconds. Abhishek, 6 minutes 27 seconds. Anshuman, 7 minutes 30 seconds. So right at the mark. Pawan, 6 minutes 20 seconds. Devakar, 6 minutes 20 seconds. And Priyanka, 7 minutes. The evaluators took the following time. Akanksha, 2 minutes 20 seconds. Priyanka, 2 minutes 50 seconds. Lakshya, 2 minutes 10 seconds. Rupender, 3 minutes 15 seconds. Vishaka, 3 minutes 10 seconds. Nasir, 2 minutes 30 seconds. All of the speakers today, including the evaluators, took the time as to vote for them. Nobody took overtime, so that was a really, really good thing. I think we started the meeting on time and now we are ending in time with all the alacrity of yours. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your report. Next, we move on to the R counter for the day, Toastmasters Sonia.
So I begin my evaluation with the prepared speeches, Priyanka. There were 4 short pauses were 1. Anshuman, there were 5 and there was 1 lie, and there was all right 8 times and okay 4 times. So that would be used. Abhishek, there were just 1 2 and 1 so and 1 short pause. Pawan was close to perfect. There were just 1 half so I don't think that should be counted. But he repeated there was a small mix up in my cup of tea. And there were 2 times double usage of the same word. Devakar, there were 5 and there were 6 short pauses. I move on to the evaluations. Priyanka, there were 2 2 so's, 2 2 so's and just 1 short pause. Lakshya, there were 7 3 euros, 1 lie. Akansha, there were 7 2 and 1 so and 1 short pause. Rupenda, I struggled hard and didn't find any again 1 half was there which can be used. Vishaka, there were 2 For the presiding officer's speech, Shivam, there were 4 and 2 short pauses. For Toastmasters of the day, Anju Priya, team alternative, there were 8 3 and 1 so, 1 double clutch, 4 short pauses. But the best thing about your filler words was you smiled all through, so that was very less noticeable. Since I was just nitpicking everything, so that was noticeable, but otherwise those filler words were less noticeable. And for you, there was certain double usage of the same words and 2 times quick succession. For the general evaluator, Nimit, there were 7 1 so and 1 short pause and 3 double usage of the same word in succession. For 1 prepared speech, Priyanka's speech that was left, there were 2 there was a light shudder, that is vibration and mix up in a word, and that was there thrice. So that's not exactly a filler word, but just if you're saying a word, slight that. For Nasir, who is the evaluator, there were 13 and 6 and. For the timer, there there were 4 R's, and for grammarian, there were 3 R's. That's all.
Thank you, Soumya, for a detailed report. It didn't really look like that you were doing any role for the first time. So congratulations to you. And last but not the least, the grammarian for the day, Ranjan Preet.
So, hi all. Today I am filled with alacrity to present my report. So, starting with the word of the day, alacrity. Alacrity was used 5 times, and I really appreciate that Abhishek, Diwakar, and Priyanka included this word of the day in their speeches. And now, going ahead with the good usages first. Priyanka used the phrase, life without aim is a life without success. Abhishek used the word euphoria, and he also used the phrase, chill ran down my spine, which I mean can be used when someone feels very frightened. Now, Pawan rephrased the phrase like, behind every successful man there is a mentor, and he also introduced today's mentees are tomorrow's mentors. And Diwakar used life is full of small moments. And Shukriya used I was on cloud 9 to decode the happiness, and she also used thunderbolt word. Now going ahead with the not so good usages, being girl should have been used as being a girl. The correct pronunciation for the word is competitors. Work in a better technology should have been used as work on a better technology. Today I played, in terms of simple present, it should have been used as today I played. Few get mentors by should have been used as few get mentored by. I could heard, I could hear. Could arrive, could have arrived. Some person, one person. Tell to any other vendor, tell any other vendor. Suffering about, suffering from. That's it.
For a very crisp report, let us have the ballot once again, this time for the auxiliary role players. We had 3 auxiliary role players today. Sonali, the timer, can you please raise your hand? Yes. And then our counter for the day, Soumya, and Ranjan Preet, the grammarian. Please vote for the best auxiliary role player for today. The presiding officer today was mentioning about, in a few past instances, that the energy was going down, and we will probably make sure that the guests and the members alike are participating with alacrity in today's meeting, applauding enthusiastically, and that's what, as a general evaluator, I observed today. Which brings me to my own report about the role players, the evaluators, and the tag team, of course, and of course the meeting as a whole. So, shall I proceed with the evaluation report? Yeah. Okay. Right. So, I started evaluating the meeting before it even started. I will go to the role players first, and then we will evaluate the meeting at the end. First, the Sergeant at Arms, DTM Rupinder. I really like that how he started the meeting on a humorous note and with a big round of applause to set the high energy and tone for the meeting. The meeting started on time, and the room was perfectly set up. And also, he perfectly read the club mission statement and the housekeeping roles, and very enthusiastically brought to the stage the presiding officer for it. Coming to the presiding officer, Shivam, he had an inspirational opening and played his role very well. He owned the stage, I thought, and set the stage with a lot of energy. However, he had to leave in between, but he really did well to delegate his task to the other presiding officer. That really shows the responsibility and his leadership skills. Coming to the Toastmasters again, very well done in the choosing theme, happiness, a very positive theme. It was an interactive start. You maintained the smile throughout. You started on an electric note, maintained the audience attention throughout, I believe. You introduced the theme, explained the three segments in the speaking, thinking, and listening. So that was a good analogy. You beautifully spoke about the happiness theme and right at the very end maintained the interest by asking us to take an oath, etc., and ending it on a high. You structured your theme very well. Thank you for that. However, there were a couple of suggestions. You could have enthusiastically invite the evaluators as well, like you did for the speakers. And you could prepare a little bit more advanced by collecting the speech titles, which I saw that you were doing just at the 11th hour. Coming next to the speech evaluators itself. First of all, evaluator 1, Akansha. You followed the CRC approach, and I saw that you had good observations about the speech. You read the speech objectives very clearly. However, it would have been a good gesture if, while giving your introduction and reading of the statement of the speech, you could have mentioned to the audience that to give us standing ovation as it was Priyanka's icebreaker speech. And in your evaluation itself, you could be a little bit more encouraging, is what I felt. Evaluator 2, Lakshay. You again followed the CRC approach, read the objectives very well, and was quite observant. And your commendations and recommendations were to the point, they were meaningful. And then next is Priyanka. Priyanka, again, your commendations and recommendations were very well stated and they were meaningful. However, there were a couple of points for you. First is that I saw that there was a lack of preparation for your evaluation, and there was a cross communication going on with the fellow speaker. And then also this was a little bit of confusion, and then you could have reaffirmed the speech time to the timer as well, which you didn't do in the initial part of your introduction. You could have maintained a little bit more positive and encouraging tone for the speaker. Evaluator 4, Rupinder, you had great observation skills and you concluded your evaluation very well. You maintained the commendations and recommendations, and you praised the speaker and gave the generic advice, which was very well taken. Your tone was very positive and encouraging. Vishakha, on very similar lines, your commendations and recommendations were also very meaningful, and your personalized praise and advice was nice. I also felt that you introduced and reaffirmed the objectives of the speech in your evaluation. That was a nice touch. Nasir, I really liked the enthusiasm in your evaluation, and you followed the correct approach of CRC, also concluding the evaluation well. However, you could have also reaffirmed the speech time to the timer, and I encourage you to use different adjectives and not to limit to very selected adjectives for the speech. I also observed that you missed out on calling a couple of two inappropriate words in her speech. So you can take care of that. Next, to the tag team players. First of all, the timer. You very well explained your role and delivered your report. You also called out if there was any disqualifications or not, so that's good. The R counter, you were doing the first role for today, and you really well explained your role, introduced yourself well, and the report was well delivered. An encouraging tone was maintained, yes. However, I could feel on the first instance, you didn't follow the handshake protocol with me. Yeah. The grammarian, Ranjan Preet, again explaining the role very well, and sharing the word of the day well in advance on the group, right, and encouraging every member to use it. Clearly highlighted the good usages and the bad usages, and highlighting the role play of the speaker in good usages and not highlighting the speaker or the role player where the good usage was not there, so that's a good thing to do. Okay, so last but not the least is the meeting as a whole. I'm quite happy that the no cell phones rang and the entry and exit of the room happened only during the applause. There was minimal crosstalks, but at a couple of instances I felt that there was. Handshake protocol was followed most of the times, but not at a couple of occasions. Generally speaking, the applause and the energy of the meeting was high compared to the last meeting. I also liked the gesture of the audience giving a standing ovation for the icebreaker speech today and applauding with alacrity. However, I could feel that there was too much of modifications in the meeting agenda today, right? And a lack of preparations at the last moment, causing a lot of confusions and frequent altercations on the whiteboard. I could see that a few members and guest role players, in fact, coming late to the meeting. I encouraged them to be on time and be well prepared for their roles and settle down before the meeting. At a few places, the energy and the applause went down. I encouraged the experienced members to applaud enthusiastically to set and maintain the tone throughout the meeting. So that's it.
Thanking you and your team for such substantial report. Now we are running behind time, so without any... Or I.
You can ask the presiding officer to come to the
Yes.
stage. Stand over to the presiding officer and then.
Okay, now I will ask our acting presiding officer, DTM Rupendra, to come.
Vishakha.
Vishakha. Yeah, Vishakha.
Hello. So I would request everybody to vote for the best role player. The best role player. Does everybody has a sheet?
No.
So those who do not have a sheet,
The role players were
Yeah, the role players were keyboard Anshupriya, Toastmaster of the Day Anshupriya, and General Evaluator Nimit. So,
Role players.
so while the votes are being collected, I would request our guests to please come and share your feedback, your experience with the meeting that you had for the meeting. Please come.
My experience is fantastic. So I have said in between previous meeting also. So it's good to see you all and to learn many things from you. So right now I have been member of your Toastmasters. So you will see me and by leaving the speeches and by doing the many activities of the Toastmasters. So thank you.
And I really like the experience, and I really like the construct how the complete Toastmasters is working, and all the best to all. Thanks.
I'm Digan, and first of all, I would really like this. The practice, I think probably this is the normal practice in this club to shoot the video. This is really good because so that we can evaluate ourselves in future also. Because there is always a road which never ends, and that is the road for continuous improvement. Apart from that, I really like the orderly conduct of the meeting and the precision with which all the people came in the general evaluation segment and delivered their evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for this applause. So now we have the results, and I would request who's the newest member of the club in this room?
My latest member.
Please come.
Thank you. So, best speaker, any guess?
It's not your wife.
Any guess, guys? I know it's not good. Okay, Pawan.
Study recorded on videos.
Nice. Okay, so next one, best evaluation.
Yeah.
Together. The next one, best auxiliary role player. Any guesses? Ranjan Pray. Okay. So the last one, the best role player. Anshu Priya. Thank you. Over to you. Thank you.